ओके, स्क्रीन विजिबल है, स्टार्ट करूं?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's begin the session. This is lecture number 31. We have started unit number 5th. We have done lecture number 1, and it is a network lecture part 2. Network layer part 2. So in the last lecture, what we have discussed, we have started with the IP address, its full form, its version, size of IP version 4, the way of representation, decimal and binary, how IP address will be represented by two different notations. This is the example of decimal notations, and this is the example of binary notation. Then we have discussed classes of IP addresses, why we need to do classes. So if we use the binary representation, how we identify IP addresses classes. So if we have given certain IP address in the binary notations, we can identify in which class it is belonging to. So while looking the first byte, we can identify the IP addresses classes. In the same manner, if we given the decimal notation, if we given IP address into the decimal notation, again we can find the classes of IP addresses by looking the first byte. Then we have discussed about suffix and prefix in IP addresses. We have understand suffix bits tells us about the total number of hosts, and prefix bit tells us about total number of network. So it gives total number of network IDs, it gives total number of hosts in a particular network. So each and every class can have a different number of bits in a prefix and suffix. Like in class A, there is 7 bit for prefix and 24 bit for suffix. In class B network, there is 14 bit for prefix and 16 bit for suffix. Similarly, class C, there is 24 minus 3, 21. 21 bits for prefix and only 8 bit for suffix. Class D and class E is reserved. Class D used for multicast addressing and class E for future used. Then we have solved some numericals. First numerical we had solved. We have given a block of addresses for a small organization. We have given a first IP address with the CIDR notation, slash notation, and we have to ask what is the first address in the block. So we have calculated in this way. First we have to convert into binary number 205, 16, 37 and 39. Then we know that it is a IP version 4. So the length of IP version 4 is 32 and CIDR notation given 28. So 32 minus 28 gives us 4. So we have to set 0 for 4 rightmost bit. So if we do so, we got the first IP address of the block, and that will be 32. So 205.16.37.32, that is the first IP address for the given block. Similarly, if you want to find out the last IP address in the block, then we have to set 4 most bit set by 1. So this is done. We have to set rightmost 4 bit by 1. If it is 0, then it should be set by 1. If it is 1, then keep it as it is. So by setting rightmost bit to 1, it gives the last IP address. And after calculating, the decimal IP address will be 205.16.37.47. So now we have given first IP address, we have already calculated, that is 205.16.37.32, and the last address for the given block 205.16.37.47. So now the third questions, how many IP addresses are available? So we can find also 32 minus 28 gives 4. If we rest 2 raised to the power 4, it gives us total 16. So we have total number of IP addresses in the given block will be 16. So in this way we have to solve the numericals. Now let's understand the concept of classless IP address, that is CIDR, classless interdomain routing. Classless interdomain routing is a method for allocating IP address and routing Internet Protocol packets. The Internet Engineering Task Force introduced CIDR in 1993 to replace the previous addressing architecture of class-full network design in the Internet. Its goal was to slow the growth of routing tables on routers across the network to help slow the rapid execution of IP version 4 addresses. Let's understand by the diagram so that you guys understand what I'm telling to you. Suppose this is class A. In class A, there is a prefix and suffix bit. So for designing the network IDs, we have 8 bits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the rest is 0. This is the example of class A IP address. Now this is a class full IP addresses, but if you want to convert it into CIDR notation, then we have to calculate how many number of ones in network IDs. So according to the concept of prefix, we have already discussed, like class A having the 8 bit for prefix, right? So prefix bit tells us the CIDR notations. So for class A IP address, we can write CIDR for /8. Similarly, for class B, IP addresses, we know that a 14 bit this is the second octet. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have to calculate the network IDs. how many number of ones in network IDs in the prefix bit. So in the class B IP addresses, there is total 16. So CIDR will be /16. For class C IP address, according to our class diagrams, there is a prefix bits total 24 minus 3. So right now we have considered total 24 bits. So 24 times 1 it should have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 first octet, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 second octet, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 third octet, and the host bit will be represented as a suffix. So there is only 8 bit in a suffix bit. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So it tells us the CIDR notation 24. Now what happened with the class full IP addresses? Why CID to understand? First we will understand the drawback of class full IP address. Class full IP addresses drawback of class full IP addresses. Now let's understand by example. Suppose we have an organization, suppose PGI, and PGI required only 2 network IDs required only let's suppose 4 network ID, and the second requirement, each network IDs it required uh, each network IDs there will be suppose 60 IP addresses required. So this is the requirement. We required 4 network ID, and each network ID we required only 60 IP address, because we want to design 4 network and each network can contain 60 number of computer system. And in order to make communication between 60 computers, we should design a network like that each and every computer must have IP addresses. So initially what we have done, we arrange the computer system, design the topology, and we must have the collection of IP addresses. Suppose we are using the class full IP address, right? We are not using CIDR notations. So let's take example. Suppose we are using class full IP addresses. So we will go for class C IP address. If we use class C IP address, we know that total 8 bit used as a suffix. So according to 8 bit, 2 raised to the power 8. First of all, we have to go for class C because we have very less requirement. We have requirement, we have only 4 network IDs, and each network IDs we have only 60 PCs. Class C provide us 256 IP addresses in each network IDs. So according to class C, there is a total 8 bit, right? So let's write it. We prefer class C IP addresses because it provides because it provides 256 IP addresses in each network ID. In mind how 256 IPs that can provided by the class C in each network IDs. So we can calculate. We have given total 8 bit as a suffix, and we know that suffix bit indicate the total number of hosts in the network. So just look at the suffix bit of class C. Just forget about the CIDR. We are not discussing right now here. This is not we are discussing. We are understanding the drawback of class full IP address. So in class C, there is total 8 bit, which is suffix. Suffix bits is equal to 8. And if you got 2 raised to the power 8, 2 raised to the power 8, it gives us 256. Means if we set suffix bit by 1, we can customize the total number of hosts. Initially, all the host bit are 0. That means there is no IP addresses provided by class C. But if we set total 8 bits 1, set it by 1, then it provides 256 IP addresses. Let's customize it. Suppose host bit 678. Let's suppose the host bit are set by 1, write 2 bit set by 1. What it indicates? 2 raised to the power 1 and 2 raised to the power 2. This is the actual meaning. So 2 raised to the power 1, 2 plus 2 raised to the power 2, that is 4. 4 plus 2. So it gives us total 6 IP address. 2 raised to the power 1 plus 2 raised to the power 2. Now let's convert it according to our requirement. We required 60 IP addresses. So how many bits we have to set by 1 in the host bits? So if we set 2 bits, it provides 6 IP address. If we set 3 rightmost bit, it provide 2 raised to the power 1 plus 2 raised to the power 2 plus 2 raised to the power 3 and 2 raised to the power 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this way. So in order to calculate the 16, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If 1 bit set, it gives us 2. If 2 bit set, it gives us 2 raised to the power 1 plus 2 raised to the power 2, that is 4. It gives us 6. If 3 bit set by 1, then 2 plus 4 plus 2 raised to the power 3, that is 8. So it gives us 12, 14. Similarly, if we set 4 bit, it gives us 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 2 raised to the power 4, that is 16. 16 plus 4, 20, 20 plus 10, 30. It gives us 30 IP addresses. If we set rightmost bit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, it gives us 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus 2 raised to the power 5, that is 32. Then it gives us 30, 30 plus 60, 62, right? That is our requirement. We required 60 IP address for each network. So from the host bit, we have to set 5 times 1 in order to get 60 IP addresses in each network IDs. But if we use the class full IP addresses, by default we provided 256 IP addresses. But we are not required right now 256 IP addresses. We required only 60 IP addresses. The rest IP addresses will be waste if we use class full IP address. I hope you understand what I am telling to you. If you use the class full IP addresses, that is a biggest drawback of class full IP addresses. By default, in class C, there is total 8 bit work as the suffix bits, which provide the total number of hosts in the network. And according to 8 bit, we get the total number of hosts is 256, but we required only 60 IP addresses. But by default, availability is 256 IP address. So somehow there are so many IP addresses waste. Approx 200 or 196 IP addresses gets waste. That is not using by any computer system. So somehow we have to preserve the IP addresses from this wasting, right? So in this way, we can use the CIDR notations. We can customize the host bit. We can customize the network bits. So whatever the network we required, we customize the network bit from left to right, and it will be set by 1. The rest network bit will be 0. And if you want to customize the host bit, that means we required 60 computer system. So we can take rightmost 5 bit set by 1. It gives us 62 IP addresses. Means there is only 2 IP addresses gets waste, not more than 2. So this is the advantage of CIDR notations. It allows us to customize the host bit and network bit. So this class C will be converted. If we use the CIDR notation, it will be converted in this way. We required only 4 network IDs. So 4 network IDs means 6, 2 plus 4, that is 6. If we set left most bit by 1, means 1 1, rest is 0. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This is the class C. We require only 4 leftmost bit by 1. It gives us total 6 network IDs. We required 4 network IDs. There will be 2 network ID will be waste. So there is no issue. 2 is very less network IDs. So let's waste it, and the host bit will be set 0 0 0 0. Sorry, 5 times 1. 1 2 3 4 5. Total 8 bit, yes. So that is the CIDR notation. According to network IDs, the CIDR notations will be /2. And according to host CIDR, there will be a 5. So this is the actual meaning of CIDR notations, how we calculate, how we preserve the IP addresses from wasting. So this is the default CIDR for class A, CIDR notation /8, because the network bit set by 1. If we count the total 1, that will be 8. In class B, there is total 16 bit, which represent the network IDs. So there is a 16. For class B, the default CIDR is 16. It may be customized. And for class C, there is a 24 bit set as a network IDs. So /24. So mostly slash notation tells us how many network we required. Done. So this is all about the CIDR concept. How a network administrator understand the requirement of organization, and it create the network IDs, and it will keep the total number of hosts in a particular network IDs. Now let's understand the next topic, routing. Routing is a mechanism for finding the most cost-effective path between source and destination. We have already discussed the circuit switch network, in which we have designed a diagram that are some workstations available there and some nodes are connected to each other. So some workstations are there. If you want to select one workstation as a source and other workstation as a destination, so in between the network, there is so many nodes that provide the shortest path for source from source to destination. So routing tells us the best effective path from source to destination. This is the task done by the router, and that algorithm is known as a routing algorithm. So routing is the one kind of mechanisms to finding the most effective path from source to destination. Now let's understand the desirable properties, what we desired in our routing algorithms. First, correctness and simplicity. Routing algorithm must be correct and very simple. Means just by keeping the pen and paper, we can explain the very cost effective path. It should be as simple as that. And correctness means it always deliver the packets from right destination. This is called the correctness. If we have designed the wrong algorithms, it is not making the correct path, then we cannot sure about our packet it will reach to the right destination. If you put the wrong IP addresses, again the routing algorithm will not work properly. So this is called the first desirable property, correctness and simplicity. So packet should be delivered at proper destination. Second is robustness. Robustness tells us that means ability to network to deliver packets via some routes, even in the even in the case of failures. It may be possible that there is so many noise in the network, there are so many obstacles in the network, but routing algorithm should make different path and it should reach the packet from source to destination. This is called the robustness, means in case of failure, packet should be reached on the destination machine. Stability. Third desirable properties of routing algorithm is stability. The algorithm should converge to equilibrium fast in the face of changing condition in the network. So stability means if there are changing in convergence means if there are certain topology gets changed in different network. Suppose I send a mail from my machine and I am using the star topology, but you are at present using the ring topology. There are change in network. So routing algorithms should take decision if the topology gets changed. This is called the convergence. Means if topology gets changed, if network architecture gets changed, then packet should be delivered to the right destination. It should not be failure. So this is called stability. According to the convergence, the packet must be delivered from right destination. Fairness and optimality. This is also a desired properties. Fairness means each and every nodes gets chance to deliver the packet from source to destination. Means while making the effective path, then all nodes should be involved for making the effective path. And optimality tells us we have to select a limited number of nodes for making the effective path. Both are contrast to each other. If we want to achieve the fairness, we should avoid the optimality. And suppose if we want to achieve the optimality, we should avoid the fairness. Right? So some algorithms based on fairness, some routing algorithms are designed on the concept of optimality. So you have to understand fairness means each and every node must involve for making the cost effective path. And for optimality concept, there are certain selection of nodes that make effective path. And the efficiency, routing algorithms always be efficient. It always deliver the packet to the right destination. It should not failure in the case of convergence, in the case of network obstacle, in case of changing the topologies, it always work properly. So we can say these algorithms are efficient. So these are some desirable properties of routing algorithms which we want to achieve in the algorithm. So first is correctness and simplicity. Second is robustness. Third is stability. Fourth one is fairness and optimality. Fifth one is efficiency. Now next is various design parameters for a routing algorithm. Suppose we want to design a routing algorithms, then what parameters on which we have to work? So first, the performance criteria. If we calculate the performance criteria, it should be greater, it should be maximum. So how we calculate the performance criteria? So it should be calculated on number of hops, cost, delay, and throughput. This four parameter tells us how we can improve the performance, because we want to increase the performance of our routing algorithms. So number of host, how many intermediate nodes comes in successfully packet delivery. This is called number of hops or number of node you can say. So in the network architecture, there are so many nodes connected to each other. There are so many workstations that are connected with the node, and node individually they are connected, and after selection some nodes there are some path, we can say effective path, and these effective path used by the workstation from sending data frames to the destination. Second is cost. Cost, for less cost use high bandwidth path so that at minimum time taken by the packet to reach at destination. So cost should be less. Delay means dependent the size of queue or queue length. We have already discussed the circuit switch network, packet switch network, and message. Right. So in the message switching, we have discussed each and every node having the storage capacity. If we increase the storage capacity, there are so many messages comes into the queue. If we increase the length of queue, automatically delay will be greater. So it is dependent on the size of queue or a queue length. So we have to keep the less size of queue. So queue length should be less. Size of queue should be less if you want to find out the greater performance. Throughput, total number of packet delivered per unit, it is called throughput. Yes, we want to increase the throughput. That means total number of packet should be delivered from a unit time. So these are some design parameters. If you want to increase the performance, number of hops should be less, cost should be less, delay should be minimum, throughput should be maximum. Now, during the transmission of packets, decision time, there is the second design criteria. Who will take the decision? How packet deliver from one node to other node, right? Because there are so many nodes collectively connected to each other and they are making effective path. So who will take the decision? Packet will take decision for its next leg or next node, or node will take the decision for the next node, right? So the packet per packet datagram or per session, you can say virtual circuit. Per packet datagram means if packet decides what should be the path from source to destination, each of the packet is independently decide when it moves further. It means if you are using per packet approach or a datagram approach, each and every packet take independently decision how it moves further. So packet is taking decision for the next leg. But if you are using virtual circuit approach, it tells us decision of sending each of the packet is taken by the session. So we have a pre-planned route. There are certain number of nodes comes into the path. We have finalized the nodes. Then we start delivery of packets. This is called virtual circuit approach. We have already discussed in the packet switching technique. There are two approach: datagram approach and virtual circuit approach, in which we have discussed these two techniques. Decision place, which one take decision, every node, central node, or originated node. So in routing algorithms, there are provisions that each node take decision, or there are some routing algorithms in which there are only central node having the rights to take the decision, or some originated node, that means who start the delivery of packets, only that node will take the decision. So decision place can be each node, central node, and originated node, depending upon the nature of algorithms. Network information. How much information can a node contain about the network? Because we know that there is a routing table. Routing table tells us various information about the network. What is the IP address of source machine? What is the IP address of destination machine? What is the port address of sending machine? What is the port address of receiving machine? MAC address and all that. So many information contained by the table, which is called a routing table. So network information can be shared locally or adjacent node or node along the route and all node. Who will share the network information? to the packets. None, that means no, none node can share the information about the network. So in this case, a packet cannot delivered. If it does not contain any information about the network, how it proceed to further? It cannot. Local information or adjacent information, that means it just contain the information about the neighbor. Directly connected node, right? Suppose one is connected to 2, one is connected to 3. So in the routing table of 1, there is only two information, node number 2 and node number 3. This is called adjacent node, or you can say neighbor node. Nodes along route, maybe it can contain all the detail of node that comes into the route. And all nodes, it contain all the nodes of network. So network information source can be none, can be local, can be adjacent, can be nodes along the routes, and can be all nodes can share the network information. And fifth one is network information updating time. It may be continuous update, it may be periodic update, it may be update when the major loads change, and if the topology change, then the network information updates. Sometimes what happen, we have to tell to the routing tables that there are some changes in the network. You have to update your routing tables. Previously, suppose we are using star topology. Now I have designed a ring topology. That means we convert the star topology to the topology. We have to provide information to routing table. So how network information update in the routers? So we have to tell us it will be changed continuously. It will be changed periodic, means a fixed time interval. The network information must be shared to the routers and it will change into the routing table. If major load change, suppose on a link there is a major load, then we have to divert the packet from a different diversion or different path. In this case, we have to tell information about the routers. So this tells us network information update timing. Some routing algorithms change continuously. Some routing algorithms change frequently. Some routing algorithms change if the major load gets changed in the link, and if topology gets changed, then network information update. So this is the major criteria. Suppose we want to design the routing algorithms. Performance criteria we have to calculate in this way. Decision time by using two methods, datagram approach and virtual circuit. Decision place, each node, central node, originated node can be take decision, and sharing information about the network can be none, local, adjacent node, nodes along the route, and all nodes. And if you want to network information update according to time, it may be continuous, periodic, major load change, and topology change. In this way, we have to change the network information. We have to update the network information. So this is all about today's lecture content. In the next lecture, we will discuss some static routing algorithm.